Hi, and welcome to episode number 14 of the Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is Sarah.
Hello.
And, of course, joining us again for a third week is our little girl, Claire. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. Well, we come to you from a new location. It's one of the locations we actually haven't been in a while, so it's going to be a lot quieter here. All right. So, episode 14. Before we start it, of course, we always like to take a moment just to thank the people who have been helping us along the way. And of course, let's start with the Phelps County Animal Welfare League. Kim and Glenda have been absolutely amazing to help spread our podcast around, been very supportive of us, and we do appreciate that. Of course, Animal Love Passed the Word with Carrie. Every so often we do appear on their page, and we do post a few things. Sorry, we haven't actually been able to lately, but we will be making an appearance back. And just a brief moment on a new product that I just saw on the market. I'll just let everybody kind of Google it for a little bit, kind of give a little bit of time if you're interested in any kind of tech products for your animals. It's a product that I just saw over the weekend called Whistle. New product, and really interested with that product. Might go into detail at a later time. Excuse me, but if you're interested in any kind of tech products for you or your pets, give it a Google. It's definitely worth it. Anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
All right. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat.
Well, we have had quite a few people very interested in what we have to offer for our podcast. Quite a few people have wrote in and asked us quite a few questions that we're hoping to help out others with it.
Right, and of course, this whole podcast is about reaching out to you, the listeners. We want to make sure that you're as interactive with this show as possible. And of course, big congratulations to everybody. We've reached 2,000 views, and we're only a month and a half into this podcast. So congratulations to all of you for making us a success so far.
Thank you very much.
We really do appreciate it. All right, so we're going to dive into a few of the emails that we received. And again, as always, feel free to email us. I know, Lisa, you email us and Facebook message us a lot. Thank you always for all of your emails and support. I know I didn't get back to your last email. I did read it. This email is from Casey, and she asks, why does my dog get knots behind her ears?
That's a very common thing. I want to say about 75% of dogs that come in with drop ears or fuzzy end up having mats behind their ears. With a Shih Tzu or the Bichon, Lhasa Apsos, any kind of dog with dropped ears that are very fuzzy are definitely subjected to mats behind the ears. The reasoning for it, I believe you asked why you get the knots behind the ears.
That is correct.
Is when the dog's running, the ears are flopping. When they're playing, they're rubbing up against the carpet, the chair, couch, your hand. It twirls the hair up. And then every once in a while, they might get it wet by stepping in the water bowl and then scratching behind the ear. Licking their paw and then scratching behind their ear. Anyway, when there's a little bit of moisture that gets behind the ear, it makes the hair stay in the spot that it is. When it dries, then it fluffs up more and curls up more, and then eventually you start getting to the point where you have a huge mat behind the ear and you have to have it shaved out. It can look funny, depending on how the ears lay. One time I shaved off this huge mat behind the ears. I felt so sorry for the dog because when it walked out, you can see these ginormous shaved bald spots because the mat was so big and it was so close to the skin, there was nothing else you can do. One way of preventing it is making sure you take a comb, and not a plastic comb where it's plastic bristles. Those things will snap off. Or they'll just glide right over the mat and you don't know it's there. So you're just brushing the top coat. You're not doing anything positive. But get a comb that has metal bristles and comb behind the ears every day. or at least every other day to minimize the mats.
And of course, that's, goes back to a lot of the things that we've said in the past, where it is a bonding experience between you and your pup.
Yeah, it definitely is. And keep combing those out once the groomer shaves it out. Keep combing them, and you might not have that problem next time. Thank you so much, Casey.
All right, the next one is going to be from Anna. Anna asks, is having a sweater on my Shih Tzu okay?
Having a sweatshirt on a Shih Tzu, especially during wintertime, I don't see the problem in it. I would put it on, especially if it's real cold out and you have to take your pup for a walk in order to get them to go to the bathroom. Excuse me. But the one thing you gotta realize too when you're putting sweatshirts, jackets on, or even leaving a collar on, which we suggest always, is that you gotta brush afterwards. Once you take that sweater off, you gotta use your slicker brush, get down deep, and then follow it up with that same metal comb as if you were to keep the knots away from the ears. But I don't see any problem with wearing sweatshirts. As long as it's properly sized and not cutting off any kind of circulation or so big that it's, tripping them, it should be fine.
And of course, brushing your pet's always going to help, whether it's with a sweater or not. I mean, I would probably suggest sweater, then brush afterwards.
Yeah, once you're done walking, take the sweater off, brush them, and if you need to put the sweater back on, if it's cold in your house, like your heater went out or something, you can keep the sweater on for longer periods. But the longer you keep the sweater on, the higher risk you're going to get knots around the dog's elbows and armpits, under their belly, around their neck, anywhere that sweater's been. You have a high chance of getting knots where it will be tough if you go to the groomer during wintertime, like our bad wintertime, if it starts around September, it starts getting cold.
Yeah, right around Halloween is when we really get cold. I mean, that's really when it really gets frigid.
You get cold, and then, you put a sweater on or whatnot. Most people don't like getting their dogs groomed during winter. That's not a good idea. You still need to get your dogs groomed during winter. All because half the year is snow doesn't mean the dog deserves to go half a year without a haircut.
Right.
We're not talking a full body shave, but enough to have a brush out, get their eyes taken care of, their nails taken care of, their ears taken care of. And as long as you brush at home, it's not going to be that much during winter time to get the dog groomed. It might be cheaper than the summertime. And so if you use a sweater, make sure you brush, because I would hate to see come January when it's absolutely just frigid out and bitter, then you have to shave your Shih Tzu down or your Lhasa or whatnot. You have to shave them down because the mats are so bad around the elbow and the chest and the neck because you didn't brush.
And you mentioned all those things. Those are definitely things to look out for. Also, look for different eye gunk. That's something I've noticed a lot lately. Eye gunk in between the eyes. That's definitely something to look out for. All right. So the next one is going to be from Dave. My Schnauzer freaks out for thunderstorms. Is there anything I can do to help him?
There is a couple different things you can do. I know there's a product out there called Thunder Shirts or Thunder Jackets. I think they're Thunder Jackets.
I just think of the movie Ted and think of Thunder Buddy.
But it's a jacket that fits nice and snug, that helps keep the dog feeling secure. Like, I'm not sure how they did it or where they come up with this research, but I've heard people say it's amazing, where it's tight enough and snug enough to where he feels comfortable. So you might want to try Googling, Thunder Jackets. Another thing would be to sit next to him, hold on to him as much as possible, just let him relax. Try not to jump yourself. I know when there's a big bolt and then all of a sudden a loud noise, I jump 8 foot high. I hate thunderstorms. So if my dog was scared of thunderstorms, I would not be able to be his rock.
Well, usually when we have thunderstorms, we have all of the dogs in the bed, and we haven't actually seen how the little one actually responds, the new
Belle.
addition, but I'm pretty sure she'll be underneath a pillow.
Probably.
So that should be interesting. Luckily, I don't think we're gonna have. Well, no, we should have some really good storms coming up. We're starting to get warm.
Spring.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Another thing is to maybe play your music or your TV a little bit louder. See how that works. You'll still hear the muffle sound of, thunder and lightning, depending, or thunder. You can't hear lightning, but for the most part, maybe try making another noise. Maybe it's not thunder; it's just coming from the TV.
Possibly.
Try to redirect their mind. But thanks, Dave, for the question. Hopefully that helped somewhat.
Excuse me, I am sneezing over here, so that's completely threw us off. Yes, thank you, Dave. All right, the next one is going to be from Tony. Tony asks, "My dog keeps dragging his butt. What do I do?"
That is a very common question, and it's got a pretty common answer. It could be one or two things. Now, I'm not a veterinarian, so I can only tell you what I've seen and what my customers have told me.
And I know exactly where you're going to lead into this one.
Well, for one, the glands may need to be expressed. So go into a groomer, and if your pup needs a bath, I suggest getting the bath and the glands expressed. Getting the glands expressed and then leaving might not be so good. We use wipes, puppy wipes, so it helps make sure the smell's gone because they stink to high heaven.
Well, actually, we almost every time when we have a dog come in, they are always in for a bath.
Right, but every once in a while you do get the ones that just need the glands and they leave. We have specific wipes that are, formulated for the dogs and helps wipe away the smell and odor from it. But I suggest going into your groomer, get the dog bathed and the glands expressed.
Yeah.
After they're expressed, your pup might scoot just a little bit more because it feels funny. Those sacs are empty and it feels awkward.
And let me tell you, you've been down this road. I mean, we always said we're not going to talk about anal glands, but we always do end up circling back. But you can find a dog that you'll just go back to actually express their glands, and it's the biggest ball back there, and it's so bizarre. And then of course there's some that aren't, but it's like, can you only imagine having that back there? I mean, that's just got to be awkward.
Yeah, it's got to be discomfort.
Oh, it has to be.
And then when you express them, a lot of times when they're scooting, and you express them, they're real thick.
Uh-huh.
And
String.
when they're real thick and they come out like ribbons,
Yeah.
just imagine, in your rump, you got two hard things in your rump, itching. I mean, it's not fun.
Well, look
That's
at
why
last
it's
week.
important for small dogs to get their glands expressed on a regular basis.
Remember last week I actually expressed glands. I didn't even know this at the time. I don't even know if we mentioned this. It probably did, but how it shot onto on the washer.
Yeah, I
Work.
really, you gotta be careful with it. This is the reason why we say it's best to get your dog a bath
Oh yeah.
and glands done, because you never know where they're gonna shoot off to. You gotta point them away from you and up against the wall. I believe we covered this in one episode about how to maintain your dog without costing too much.
Right.
But you want to aim away.
Definitely aim away. Do not look while you're doing it, or you might take it in the eye.
Or in your hair, and you
Yeah.
gotta wash your hair right away. I don't know how many times I had to have my boss wash my hair in the dog tub.
And I'll tell you, I pretty much start my day every day with my first dog at an express. So
Right.
the first thing, before even really coffee at work, you get that smell.
Well, then another thing it could be, other than the glands needed to express, your pup might have worms. If your dog had fleas beforehand, and you got rid of the fleas, or he still has fleas, it might be worms. A simple a fecal test at the vet will do. If you ever walk your dog and he goes to the bathroom and he goes number 2, look at it while he's going. If you see little white rice looking things, then he's got tapeworm, and that could be the biggest reason why he's scooting his butt. Those are typically the two reasons why. I know there's this one dog that does it for fun. This one random thing I found out in California is this one dog I used to groom. Nothing wrong with his glands, nothing wrong with worms. He just loved to do it. He thought it was a trick. So this Jack Russell scooting his butt all the way across the carpet like nobody's business just because he wanted to do it.
This will happen.
Thank you so much for your question, Tony.
Next question's from Donna. My dog eats so fast. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. He throws up full-size kibble. Do you know why?
That is a definite problem. You want to try to stop that. When dogs eat too fast, they're just swallowing their kibble. They're not trying to crunch. They're not chewing. They're just swallowing. If you get food like Pedigree, Old Roy, Purina, those kind of things, the kibble's larger. And if they don't chew that kibble, it goes into their stomach and the kibble swells. And when the kibble swells up so large, and all the kibble is doing that in their stomach, it causes something called bloat. Bloat can kill your dog. So it's real important to make sure your dog eats differently. As for the throwing up part, their stomach is so backed up with food since they just basically swallowed the entire thing that they have to relieve pressure and throw some of it up. And that's when you get kibble that's still pretty hard and gooey.
This also sounds like the supermodel syndrome to me. But that's just me. I mean, I'm just sitting here listening to this thinking that.
So, an option and a very important thing is to try to find yourself a slow feeder bowl. A slow feeder dog bowl is meant to make dogs slow down, wait till the kibble gets to their stomach before they go and grab more. They typically have designs in the middle of the bowl, or it has little bumps that come up where they have to use their tongue to get to the kibble. And since they have to use their actual tongue and not lips, mouth, and tongue and swallow all the kibble at once, it helps stimulate their mind because it's kind of like a hand-eye coordination, just tongue-eye coordination. It keeps them busy and slows them down, makes them slow down, makes them take little by little by little, which would help in turn stop the throwing up.
I know with our cats, I mean, of course we have 3 dogs, but I notice with our cats, every once in a while they'll do that too. Yeah. I don't know if there's a slow feeder for cats, but I do know.
There might be.
I'm pretty sure there is. So I mean, if we do have anybody who has cats that do that as well, you can possibly look into it as well. Because I do know that they do it, but it's a rarity.
Well, we're lucky with Katana, our Kita, that she takes a couple pieces of kibble, brings it to the front room, puts it down on the floor, and eats it while she's sitting next to us. She likes eating with the family. It's kind of funny, but I get worried about dogs eating too fast because that just causes so much problems. I'm not a vet. I just know about the research that I've done and the reading. But that's one of the reasons why Keith has carried the slow feeders in our shop. That we need to help prevent bloat when it could cost upwards of $3,000 to get your pup well again, or just put him down. Another thing too, to help with this eating too much and too fast and throwing up, if you can get a better food, a higher quality food, like a no wheat, no corn, no soy, their kibble is typically smaller. Smaller kibbles swell up less. And they break down quicker because it's more nutrients than byproduct. And byproduct takes a while to break down, and that's what makes the dogs go poo more. So feed a better food, get less stool, less likely to bloat. Mix with the actual slow feeder, you should be able to help yourself.
And with our dogs, like with Katana. She's not really like Sarah said, not a fast eater, but in reference, I mean, I was listening to what she was saying. With our dog, she ended up throwing up a lot of periodically, every one meal, every so often, but it was more of a greenish type look, and that was a simple just change the food.
Yeah, see, she was throwing up bile,
Yeah.
basically. And kind of find out it was, she has a sensitive stomach.
Yeah.
So even though rice is a grain, and rice is in the food that I feed her now, but it's a non-problematic grain. You can feed it to her or him. It helps calm the stomach, kind of like rice formula and rice milk, rice food for your baby. If your baby has an upset stomach or has a very sensitive stomach like Claire did,
Yeah.
we had to feed her rice cereal. So Katana's on chicken and rice. So she gets her protein and the rice to help coat her stomach. And since we've been feeding her for about
about 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks now.
She's only thrown up once versus throwing up twice a week.
And that always can be, for example, we have with our Akita, she'll go into the bedroom where we have a cat bowl because we have to hide the cat food from the dog food. Now it's never, but every once in a while, she would go into the bedroom, see the cat food, and ooh, I'm gonna take a couple kibbles from that.
Yeah, cat food's a lot more yummier than dog food.
Apparently so. Apparently so. A new edition likes the cat food, which I have to hide.
It's higher protein than a regular dog food is, and a lot more fat in it. So go figure.
Well, that would explain why the cats are so fat.
But thank you, Donna.
Yeah. All right. So our next question is from Linda. Why does my dog get gunk in the corner of her eyes?
Oh, we just talked about this too.
We did.
The gunk in between the eyes can be a number of different things. As springtime and summertime approaches, eye gunk is expected to get a lot worse. Reasons being pollen, allergies, ragweed. Some dogs are allergic to grass. So when the winds start blowing, all the weeds start growing, just all around allergy season. Because dogs have bad allergies too. They can get pretty bad. So then you get tear stains. Well, when the debris gets in the eye waters automatically. It's like if you ever got a gnat stuck in your eye and your eye instantly starts watering. It looks like you're crying. It's your eye's natural defense to get foreign substance out of your eye. The same with dogs. When dust, debris flies up into their eye and into their eyes, since they're so low to the ground, they could be walking next to a car and the car tires picking it up and blowing it right in their face. That causes tear stains. Food can cause tear stains. If they're allergic to the corn, wheat, or soy, that can happen. If they're allergic to a certain protein, that can happen. During winter time, it's important to keep the hair cut back all year long. But during winter time, it might be a dust allergy in your home. And again, during the winter, most likely is a food allergy. But a nice, warm, wet washcloth will help. Oh gosh.
Somebody always ends up making an abundance of noise out of nowhere.
But a warm, wet washcloth and kind of just scoop out the eyes a little bit. Get it wet, and if there's a clump that's dried on, try to pick it out as best as you can. Don't get bit.
Yeah, that is something, let me tell you, that is something that happens quite often. Obviously, it probably doesn't feel the greatest when,
sensitive skin.
Yeah, and, there are definitely techniques to do this where, when you're taking the gunk out of the eyes, there is definitely techniques that actually will make it less unbearable for your poor pup.
Don't take your dog into the groomer with a mound of eye gunk and not expect to see raw spots underneath the gunk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I might be getting a little mad here, but there's been many a times where I've gotten a dog in front of me, and they have huge eye gunk, eye boogers, whatever you want to call them, attached to their corners of their eyes, and I have to peel it off. One, I'm risking hurting the dog. Two, I'm risking my fingertips, which is my livelihood, just because you don't want to take the time to wipe the eyes.
And it's gotta hurt. I mean, it does. It has to hurt. So think of your pup.
It takes 2 seconds to take your thumbnails and just get the gunk
Yeah.
out. It's quicker than picking your own nose.
Well,
Honestly.
we are not advocating picking your nose. We are advocating taking eye gunk.
Yeah, I get a little sensitive about this part because I've taken off eye gunk and revealed nothing but a raw sore under the eye.
I've had that happen too, where we're very cautious on taking the eye gunk, not just using nails and pressing nails, but actually using like a toothbrush to actually wipe it away. And there have been times, and it's happened once or twice, where it was so bad that it started to bleed because it was actually pierced to the skin, and you feel bad for the dog.
Well, yeah, the dog's whimpering while you're doing it. They're crying.
Yeah.
So make sure the eyes stay clear. Scoop the eye area where the hair is gone, so the gunk has nothing to grab onto.
Yeah.
Take a few seconds, clear out the gunk. It takes you 3.2 seconds to get it out and done with.
It really is quick.
And you save the pain from the dog, and you save the pain for the groomer, because if the groomer gets their fingers bit, they can lose their livelihood.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're paying them $100 to groom. $100 is not worth losing the feeling in your fingers and losing your grooming capability. So do your pup a favor, clean out the gunk. Like I said, warm washcloth will do.
Yeah.
Fingernail tips, be careful. Take it slow and easy. Don't get bit yourself, because we don't need you bit. And you should be good to go.
All right. Well, thank you, Linda. All right, our last question is from Coco. Or I'm sorry, I read that completely wrong. Coco is the dog's name. Coco chews all the time. Anything I can do to save my shoes?
It says, from a chewed up pet parent.
From a chewed up pet parent. So that was her name. I'm sorry. I read that incorrectly. I'm sorry.
When they're all their names, and this one's a little different. When you have a dog that chews a lot, it's important to get a dog trainer and see what they have to say. If it's just a chewing thing and you just want to try to redirect their energy from your awesome shoes that you just scored on an awesome sale.
I just got some Jimmy Choos on half off.
So you can replace chewing shoes with maybe chewing toys. You probably don't want to do like a stuffed animal, because stuffed animals have different feels between their teeth. When they're chomping down on your shoe, it might have a certain kind of feel of the pressure in between the teeth. Kind of like when a baby chews. When they're teething, they want your finger, because your finger feels better than a biscuit. You know what I mean? A teething biscuit. I suggest Kong toys. I like those. We carry them at the shop. We carry the classic Kong toy and the classic Kong toy filling for them too. It's this red, black, they're different colors, toys that are hollowed out in the middle. They're made of really firm plastic. What you can do is put some peanut butter or maybe even some of the squeeze stuff you get in a jar that is made by Kong.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Chicken is one of them.
I think there might be a liver flavor.
I think there is a liver. There is a peanut butter. I heard somewhere that there's a mint.
I don't know. That might be for the teeth cleaning
It
part
might
of
be.
Kong.
Yeah, there's multiple kinds, so
But
definitely
I would
can
definitely,
Google.
yeah, I would definitely start with something yummier, something they really like, the chicken liver or peanut butter. Squirt it in the middle.
Yep.
Get the size that fits your dog. You don't want a huge one if you got a Chihuahua.
Yeah, I could just see that.
Since I'm not sure what kind of pup you have, if you have a large dog, there is a large Kong. If you have a medium-sized dog, there's a medium one. You put the goo in the middle, and as they're chewing and putting pressure on it, just like they do your shoe, the goo comes out and they get a treat. So it's like, oh hey, I chew on that toy, I get yummies. I chew on that shoe, I get nothing.
I get newspaper to the head.
So let your dog be as smart as as I know they are. Give them a chance to do the right thing. But yeah, that should be pretty good. And then there's also hard treats you can put in the middle too.
Do not put your husband in a PVC pipe, wrap him up, and say, "Here, dog, go for him." Coco, attack.
Well, thank you very much, chewed up pet owner.
Well, guys, it seems to come to a conclusion. We are at the 31-minute mark, and I do try to keep this around the same amount of time. So, I thank you all again for emailing us. Again, you can always email us at thegroomernextdoor@yahoo.com. And you can always find me on Facebook. Just look up Chris Green or Christopher Green, and you'll see the cover art to our podcast on mine. You can Facebook message me or whatever. And hope everybody has a good week. So, from me, have a pup-tastic week.
And just want to make sure everybody knows life is short. Play with your pet. And our special guest that has been running around, driving us nuts as always.
All right, Claire. Well, how about you say goodbye to everybody?
Bye.
And of course, that was very
Bye.
loud. All right. Well, we got that.
Bye.
All right.
Bye,
Well.
Mommy.
All right. Bye, everybody.